Starting. Go. Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome to the seminal episode of a new and wonderful thing known as The Pod with your boys Ghost and Slim. I'm Slim here, and this is my partner and co-host Ghost across the way from me. What's going on in your life, bro?
Not much. Just hanging out, man. What about yourself?
Touche. Hanging out. I got some Black Ops 3 zombies up. Living the dream, brother. Living the dream.
Oh,
So,
yeah, I got some roads in front of me. That's the game I'm playing right now.
heck yeah. Take me home, country roads, am I right?
The city road and in the middle of the ghetto. So I guess we'll see how this goes.
Take me home, ghetto roads.
First episode, co-host gets shot. Literally a ghost.
Take me home, ghetto roads. The new album by Tupac.
Yeah.
Tupac and Biggie. Speaking of Tupac and Biggie, what you think about all the weed that's going around?
Going around. I think I'm confused by the.
That sounded a lot better in my head.
I mean, it's all right, I guess. Not really.
Like the legalizing and stuff. Like, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, that's a real smooth transition there. What do you think about the marijuanas? What do you think about this plant, the Reaper?
Hey, don't fear the Reaper.
That's a good parody right there. Somebody needs to get on that. Don't fear the Reaper.
Yeah.
Oh man.
He's fear the Reaper in the colder rain.
It's I'm cool with it. Doesn't really affect me at all.
Yeah. You think we should get it where we at?
I mean, and it already is where we're at. You do know that, right?
Wait, what?
Yeah, like it's not recreational, but medical you can get it.
Well, yeah, I'm talking like recreational, like mass public distribution. Like, I mean, truckloads, dropping it on people's doorsteps. Just,
You get a gram. You get a gram. Everybody gets a gram. I mean, that's
exactly.
It certainly boosts the fast food business.
Oh wait, no, that name's already taken.
It would be a big boost to fast food businesses. Can you imagine the lines in Chick-fil-A and Taco Bell? Oh man.
Heck yeah. Come by Chick-fil-A for the new Frosted Reefer.
I mean, so if that's ever gonna happen, I need to get some stock trading apps. Get a bunch of stocks in Taco Bell.
Heck yeah, get you some of that Robinhood app and start investing.
And speaking of Robinhood app,
not a sponsor, by the way.
Not a sponsor.
But
can be a sponsor, not a sponsor. Could be.
Hey, one day they'll be a sponsor. One day we'll get the real Robin Hood to be a sponsor. The actual Robin Hood.
The actual fictional character, Robin Hood.
Stealing endorsements from the rich and giving them to the poor like us.
Speaking of Robin Hood, or robbing in the hood, specifically my neighborhood, someone took it upon themselves to trespass into my yard, go up right next to my house, and steal my scrap wood. This hasn't been the first time people have stolen from my house, but it's always been weird stuff. I'm pretty sure construction companies drive by my house and decide what they need, and then they just bust in and take it. No joke. I've had wood stolen. I've had electrical breakers stolen. The occasional hand tool goes missing. It's pretty weird. Also, sometimes I have a hard time finding my socks. Pretty sure that's them too.
I mean, like, me and my dad will go by like job sites and like take stuff out of like the dumpster, but we don't just outright
bust into someone's garage and take their take their
Yeah.
stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, while they're building the house, just walk up, grab the table saw, and just like walk off.
Yeah, pretty much. That's what it
Hey,
feels
I was
like.
cutting that piece of wood. You don't need it. Keep your trap shut. Just marching off to a truck.
Man.
It's for a good cause, mainly a better construction crew.
It's for a good cause. Mainly, cheap supplies and free labor.
Basically, be lucky we're not taking you to operate it as well.
Oh, man. That's how I feel occasionally whenever we get a guy from like another company to come dig a hole for us just because he's on the job site. It's like, are we just kidnapping this man?
Genius. Yeah, but like,
You
what
know,
kind of hole are we talking though? Is this like, oh, we need like a big hole? Or is it like, hey, come dig a little trench here so I can plant my bushes?
I mean, it's usually a pretty good hole. Like, for instance, we had to dig like a probably 1,000-foot trench a few weeks ago, and it had to be probably 4 foot deep in this area.
Okay. I
Oh
mean,
yeah, if that
to
wasn't
dig,
machine, I'd still be
huh?
digging.
I mean, I get people to dig my holes all the time when I'm planting bushes. You know, I don't want the cops to catch me. But no
I think
traces on that shovel, sir. I didn't plant those.
yeah, but you have to weigh the cost benefit analysis here. They might not leave your prints on the shovel, but that's another witness. Unless you're saying you just kill them after they dig the hole.
Yeah, with the
Then who
shovel.
do you get to bury?
Exactly. See, it all comes full circle. You get him to dig the hole with the shovel, then you take the shovel, kill him with the shovel, bury him in the hole.
With the shovel. That's what makes
Exactly.
sense. You
Exactly.
you put the shovel in their hands and you bury them with it. Cops find it. Suicide by shovel. All too common.
Yes. Yeah, the cops find it and they're just like, sir, how do you assume that this man buried himself alive?
Hey,
He dug a hole
I mean,
for
hey,
himself and then shoveled the dirt back on top of himself. That takes a lot of skill, let me tell you.
I mean, if you're determined enough, I suppose.
Well, also, like, you dig down deep enough, it'll just kind of start caving in on you, anyways.
It depends on your soil, but yeah, around here.
Or, yeah. Well, also, if you dig it, like, narrow enough, like, if you dig it just narrow enough for yourself to shimmy in there, then, it'll probably cave in on you eventually. I mean,
I don't
not
know,
too.
man. You've been to Vietnam. It worked out for them pretty good.
Yeah. I mean, well, yeah,
I
relatively
mean,
good.
I'm not saying like the individual person it worked out well for them, but as a concept, it worked
Yeah,
out well.
yeah. As a principle, it worked out. Kind of
Right?
like Nikolai Tesla. Like electricity as a principle worked out for him. But as a person, it didn't really turn out so well for him. Thanks
What do
to
you mean?
good thanks to good old Kite Man. You know what I mean?
Electricity didn't do anything to Nicolas Cage, though. I don't know what you're talking about.
No, I mean, and like he discovered it and all, and it worked out as a principle for him. But then Thomas
Well,
Jeff,
Thomas.
not Thomas Jefferson, Ben Franklin, kind of ruined it for him as a person.
I mean, yeah, I guess, but like screwing him out of patents and stuff. I thought you
Yeah,
meant like I thought you meant that he was the guy who flew a kite and got struck by lightning. I'm like, that's
no,
the wrong historical figure there,
no,
but
bruh. I was a history major, bruh. I know that. I know what I'm talking about.
I too dropped out of school.
Yeah, but I dropped out of school after I graduated with that degree.
Ah, I see.
See, I dropped out from culinary school. I still got that history education, general AA. So,
Man, why are you doing podcasts? You could be teaching a public high school.
yeah, but why teach, 20 kids in a classroom when I can teach the millions of listeners we have?
I teach to 20 kids in a classroom, and you can yell at two kids who accidentally clicked on this
You're right.
Oh,
Because you think about it, the kids are accidentally clicking on this stuff. They're looking for this stuff. This is the type of stuff they need to hear. See, if I'm in a public high school, I can't explain kids. I can't teach kids about, the hard life lessons of, planting reefer and stealing from job sites. You know?
planting job sites and stealing from reefer.
Exactly. Stealing reefer from planted job sites,
Now you sound like you're running a CIA operation or
It's
something,
all
man.
full circle. I plant the job sites to make the reefer, then I steal the reefer from the job sites I planted. It's called
Man?
embezzlement, or ghost, or whatever it is.
Hey, you're going to have to edit that out, dude.
Yeah, I'm gonna edit.
Man. But you should keep it in that I told you to edit that out, so then people are curious as to what you edited out. Kind of bothersome.
Yeah, basically, like, people are never gonna know. We're gonna have, like 500 episodes of this, and people are still gonna be going, yeah, but what did he edit out in that video?
No, they're gonna be asking, why do they keep editing out their names? Literally, no one cares. No
Well, I
one
mean,
listens to this garbage. Why are they editing it? They become master editors, but no
yes,
one cares.
yeah, seriously. We'll have like 1 million followers. We'll be at like some convention. You guys are idiots. No one listens to your dumb podcast.
Yeah, pretty much.
Basically, I mean, that's how pretty much all fans are nowadays, anyways. They just run up, sign my T-shirt, and that's all. See, that's all fans are. They just trying to get your money.
I mean, man, good luck taking my money. I don't have any. Student loans.
Well, in our case, it's not money; it's reefer.
Maybe in your case, I'm a good boy who don't do nothing.
Wait, you don't collect reefs? I
Uh,
find them all the time in the ocean.
Wreaths? No, that's
Yeah,
like a Christmas thing, dude.
reefs. I steal reefs all the time, bro.
Nah, wreaths are a Christmas thing, dude. You
I'm
take
work
those on people's door around Christmas time.
wreaths, not wreaths, you idiot.
Uh,
Yeah, that's what it actually is. When you take a reef out of the water around Christmas time, it becomes a wreath, and you just hang it on your. See, that's what we need to do. We need to get like coral and make like an entire wreath out of coral, and just hang it on your front door, so people driving by, they're like, "Is that a wreath or a reef?"
yeah, that sounds like a felony, man. They do not let you touch wreaths. Like, really?
Literally, you're
Probably.
swimming in the ocean, you touch the reef, and the Coast Guard just appears. Hey, down on the ground.
I mean, the Coast Guard are basically pirates. They just kind of jump onto your boat whenever they want to.
The Coast Guard is basically legalized pirating.
I mean, literally, it is figuratively.
Everyone's like, the Coast Guard is a branch of the military. Yeah, but are they really, though?
Actually, the Coast Guard isn't part of the military. I think they're, at least I don't believe so. I think
I
they
thought,
function like the Department of Defense.
oh, I thought they were like considered like a branch of the military.
Nah, they whenever the government shutdown happened, they weren't getting paid, but I think military still was or something like that.
Oh,
Although I am an idiot, so that might be completely incorrect.
I mean, yeah, true. say that pretty much about everything we're going to talk about in this podcast. Like, we're basically idiots, so it could be incorrect, but at the time we also know everything. So
Hey, that's a good episode name right there. Basically idiots.
basically, yeah.
Episode 1 of the pod. Basically idiots. There you go.
Yeah. As a warning, you got kind of like an echo going on. Just because of your location, so you may want to get to like a stables piece of area where you can talk a little better. Yeah, guys, see, this is the first episode of the pod, so we're still we don't own like a building to actually like do this in, so we're kind of still working, setting up for ourselves. I mean, I'm pretty much set up because I do YouTube as well, but my boy Ghost over here don't really have a setup yet, so he's still trying to figure out stuff.
Is this work good?
Yeah, I mean, whatever works for you.
Like, is the sound quality good?
I mean, the sound quality is going to be crap anyways because of your phone, but it's better than it was.
I'll fight you the next time I see you.
Hey, it ain't my fault I have a decent phone, but then again, like you have to support people. I don't really have to.
Yeah. Still gonna fight you, but you're correct.
I ain't done the good old hitching yet. I just kind of staying by myself. Good old Slim Jim McCree.
Yep.
Alright, go.
So, how long have we been recording, man?
We've been recording about 17 minutes, but we're gonna dive into some stuff, if you're ready.
Yeah, sure.
Alright. So we've, legitimately though, with the whole like reefer thing we were discussing, you think it ain't too shabby?
Oh, it's all right, I guess. I mean, I'm fine with it. Yeah.
Yeah. All right.
Sounds like a good time to me.
Moving on to our next topic. Now, I know where you stand on this, but other people don't really know where you stand on this. Guns, clearly, you don't got a problem with.
Man, are we just like trying to make people really angry at us in the first episode?
I mean, people got to know where we stand. Am I right?
No, not really.
Well, okay. Like, I guess what I'm trying to get at here with this is like, so you heard about like guy in a gas station.
I've heard about Guy Fieri. Yes, I have.
Heck yeah,
A
take
gas
him on
station.
down.
Guy Fieri in a gas station reviewing the roller hot dogs and the big gulps.
I mean, that should definitely be a show. Like reviewing like gas station food. Like, dude, we could make that a show, you and me.
I mean, I haven't shown you some of the songs on my upcoming album, but no joke, I think about 3 or 4 of them are about like gas station food or activities done in a gas station.
But anyways, no, we got to get back on topic. See, I brought up the topic of guns because there was a whole thing in the paper and on like the news not long ago about some guy working in a gas station, and some guy broke in and broke in with an axe and demanded all the money, and the guy pulled a gun on him and then got fired for having a gun at work. Didn't know what your thoughts were.
Oh, well, it sounds to me like this just proves that Axe Cop is not realistic.
I mean, yeah,
if the
but
bad guy had the gun fighting Axe Cop would lose. The bad guy might lose his job for it, but Axe Cop would also lose.
But Axe Cop has like that whole like T-Rex with the machine gun arms. Axe Cop is like legendary.
That's ridiculous. The whole concept is ridiculous, and I'm aware that that's the whole comedy of it is the absurdity, but still.
Well, like Axe Cop was actually written by like the guy who came up with the idea, it's like half written by his like 5-year-old little brother.
Yeah.
Like literally his 5-year-old little brother will just walk up to him and be like, "Hey, let's play Axe Cop." And then he'll just describe what he wants them to do. And then the guy's like, "Okay." And then he writes it down and makes it into a TV show.
Hey, whatever pays the bills, I guess.
Yeah. Hey, it's funny though. Like, I mean, I don't think they currently are still making episodes. I think they like quit after like season 2. But like, it was a decent, hilarious show. There was some good tropes in there.
Hey, but
Yep.
yeah. On the topic of guns, I mean, I think it's kind of ridiculous for a company to fire someone over that. But I also understand why a company would have a policy against it.
Yeah.
Now, should the man legally, I think, should be completely fine. But I understand the whole insurance thing that the company is going through. Now,
Yeah. And
personally, I don't
also,
think he should have lost his job either. But maybe he'll find a better job than working in a gas station, I guess.
yeah. Well, also, like, you got to think about it, like, legally, like, yes, technically, like, people can own guns and have them. But, like, if a company, sets out a rule saying, like, hey, don't, we don't allow guns at our company or whatever, then, if you pull one out, you're kind of asking to be fired.
Yeah, that being said, though, I would have done the same thing that the guy did. I mean, I'm not going to let some guy
I'm,
with an axe flex on me if I have a lead slinger on me.
yeah, I mean, it is still, self-defense, I guess. Um, yeah, I don't know. It's a weird dynamic. There was also a thing. What are your thoughts on the whole thing? There was a thing a while back um where some guy went and killed some people after drinking a bunch, and then
Yes, you do.
he got arrested, and then they also arrested the lady who gave him the alcohol, saying that like, oh, like she, got him drunk and then he ended up going and killing people. What are your thoughts?
Did this happen in America?
Yeah,
Hmm. Um, I believe
like they were
Japan
like
has a similar
she
system with a.
she was like a bartender or whatever, and this guy came in, had a few drinks. She's the lady working there, so she made him the drinks, and then he got super drunk and went out and killed some people, and then they arrested him for killing the people, but then they arrested her because technically, like, ooh, she could have been involved. She could have planned this.
I mean, that's a separate issue, man. Like, if she got him to do it, then yeah, that's like a premeditated murder, and she's a.
Yeah, but like, if
But
she's
if
just,
she was literally just doing her job, then that seems ridiculous to me. I have a hard time believing that.
yeah, like,
Oh
well,
man, that'd be a bummer. Like,
yeah,
imagine you're a carpenter, and a plumber walks up to you, and hey man, can I borrow your hammer real quick? And you let him
yeah,
borrow
eh,
your hammer, and then he kills someone with it, and you go to jail.
yeah. Well, well, yeah. One of my a buddy of mine and I were discussing that topic, and I brought up the concept of like this lady, she's a bartender, and they arrest her for giving alcohol to this dude who ends up killing someone. But like, guy working a sales counter at Academy Sports sells some dude a 23 rifle. Guy goes out and kills someone. They're not going to arrest the guy who sold him the rifle.
A 23 rifle. What? What?
Like, I'm like I said, basically idiots. I don't understand it. I'm just saying, like, whatever type of gun it is, some guy goes out and kills someone, are they going to arrest the guy who sold him the gun? Like, yes, if it was sold to him illegally, but like if he just went and like bought it at, Bass Pro Shop, like, are they just going to arrest the dude because Oh, you sold him the gun, and so you could have planned it?
I mean, I'm sure that might actually happen to some extent. Like if someone in a private sale like sells to someone who legally can't have a gun, are they then responsible for that?
Yeah, like I said,
Really,
like yeah,
it's up to the court at that point.
if it's like you're selling it to them illegally, like if they're too young to own a gun, or if like the gun was stolen, or if it's, an illegal weapon, then yeah, I think so. But like, let's just say like I want to get into hunting, and so I go to Bass Pro Shops and buy, a hunting rifle, and then I end up going crazy and going out and shooting someone. Does the guy at Bass Pro Shops deserve to get arrested because he sold me the gun?
Well, I mean, obviously not, unless he like
Well,
pre-planned. If he
like,
MK Ultra'd you and gave you acid and hypnotized you into killing those people, then yeah, probably.
yeah,
But otherwise, I'd say no. He,
yeah. I mean, you say obviously, but like, you think about today's society, that type of stuff isn't necessarily obvious to a lot of people.
yeah, but what if they did MK Ultra you?
And that's how this podcast started.
I mean, I got a whole story about that with what happened to me one time, but that is a story for another episode, my friend.
Ah, I understand your vibe. So so you're saying like unless it's illegally, you shouldn't technically deserve to get arrested. Is that the
Uh,
consume basically?
honestly, unless you unless you like told the person to do it, convince them to do it, I don't think that it's really your responsibility.
Yeah. Like I think if somebody sold a gun illegally to somebody and that person went out and killed someone, I think yes, they should get arrested for selling it to them illegally, but I don't think that they should get arrested for being involved in any murder.
Well, that's how do you define selling illegally? Is the thing.
Like like if it's like because in certain states, like certain types of weapons are not allowed. They're illegal. So
Yeah.
if you sell a gun that's not allowed in a certain state to somebody in that state and they go and kill someone.
Yeah, but even then you have plausible deniability. You can say, well, I thought that he was from this state and he told
Yeah,
me he was. I guess you should have checked his license, but
yeah, true. I mean, I guess nowadays people can pretty much get away with anything. Well, not really get away with anything, but like you can definitely like have a decent excuse for a while.
yeah.
Yeah. All right. So we've made everyone mad already. We've talked about reefer. We've cleared out guns. What's another thing that's triggering to people? Well, oh,
Yeah, I have no clue.
I got one. Moonshine. Think that should be legal?
Obviously.
You think
My
like,
first my first exposure to moonshine was when I was 12 years old, driving through the foothills of the Appalachians. Good times.
yeah, what are your thoughts on these some of these reality TV shows where they go out and
I mean,
walk.
are those still going on? I don't have a TV, but it is kind of it's
like
obviously fake because it's reality TV, but it is funny to me that
like
I
the
mean,
reality where they go and view like the moonshiners?
yeah, is it still like a viable economically? Is it still viable to sell illegal alcohol? I mean, because regular alcohol is extremely cheap, like
So what
relative
do you mean?
to
Like is it like a decent means of actually like making money?
yeah, like how do they sustain themselves? I don't understand because it feels like it'd be a whole lot easier for the average person to just go down to the corner store and get their stuff rather
Yeah,
than
maybe
pay
it's like
some.
maybe it's like some sort of thing where like maybe it's not just like in like the US or something, like maybe some of them are like getting it like selling it to people who are like shipping it like to South America or something.
I feel like America has some of the strictest laws on alcohol, though. Now, what I would like to see is like a North Korean moonshiners.
Oh God.
Now that would be interesting.
I mean, they let Trump into North Korea, so like I don't see why they won't just
We'll
let
let
a
some film crews in there, and
exact
it'll be rice winers. It's people making sake illegally in the North Korean regime. That'd be an interesting show.
and every episode you never know if they're gonna, have to, cut the episode short.
That I would pay good money for that. HBO, get on that.
Heck yeah. No, you have to pay for HBO. I mean, you're probably better at these things than me because I don't, tend to live my life as much on the edge as you.
Man, I
Yeah.
mean, you say that I live my life on the edge, but not really.
Well, you
I
have
drive, I
on
drive,
the
I drive the speed limit.
well, I mean,
I
like
lock my
you
doors
don't
before I go out.
you're not currently living on the edge,
I
but
eat my fruits and vegetables.
yeah, only because people make you.
Nah, I love fruits and vegetables, man.
I'm joking. I'm joking. Like you don't currently live your life on the edge, but like you have.
Yeah, I used to. I used to be a bad kid.
And then, he decided, hey, I need to settle down and actually like take care of my life.
Man, I say I used to be a bad kid and that I don't really do stupid stuff anymore. But my brother-in-law was injured last night because of some fireworks. So
What why am I not surprised? Your father-in-law and your brother-in-law, I overheard them like discussing like the huge stashes of fireworks they had and like how they went to this massive fireworks store and got all this stuff. And then literally the next day, you're like, yeah, they got injured.
yeah, we had set up a bunch of the mortar fireworks, and we had 6 shells that we were setting off at the same time.
Holy crap.
And he found an extra tube, and he's like, "Oh, I guess this will work." And so he
Oh,
stuck it down the extra tube, but the tube was much wider than the other tubes. So the mortar shell didn't get enough compression in it, and so it popped up about 5 foot, then exploded. It was literally like a bouncing Betty landmine,
oh gosh.
and it was a
That sounds
multi-shell. It was a
that's
multi-shell too. So it pops, goes 5 foot in the air, boom, and
oh
then
god.
the next shell goes off like right in front of us, and it starts following us as we're running away as fast as we can.
Oh, no. That sounds
uh,
uh
it was a good
that's
time.
that sounds what's up? Uh it sounds similar to something that happened with my uncle. Not last year, but I think it was the year before for 4th of July. Up at his house, he lives in Tennessee, and he had bought a bunch of fireworks, and my grandparents went up to see him from Arkansas, and he had basically like the same thing where it's like a small tube and you stick the rocket in, you stick, and then it launches up into the air. Well, see, my uncle knew how it worked, because you have the rocket and the rocket has the stick on the end, and then you basically light the rocket and then it launches out of the tube up into the air and explodes. Well, see, my grandpa must have thought that it worked like old Chinese fireworks. So he just took the rocket, shoved it in the ground, and lit it, thinking it would just launch up out of the ground. But no, instead it just blew like a 6 foot hole in my uncle's yard.
Yeah,
Like my grandpa literally took it, just stuck it in the ground, lit it, and my uncle looked and said, "What are you doing?" And they both ran for cover, and it just like blew a 6 foot hole in their yard. and sent like dirt and stuff everywhere. They
The 6 foot
almost
seems a bit
killed.
excessive. Was it like 10 pounds of C4 in there?
Well, I don't know if it was exactly 6 feet, but it was a pretty decent sized hole. Like, like it
Are we
would have
sure it wasn't just an
definitely.
actual RPG?
Yes, he took an actual just M80.
No, like an actual RPG had just lit it. It's like, what are
Yeah.
you doing? I don't know.
I thought that's how these worked.
What do you have there? An RPG? No!
Oh gosh. Somebody should make that. He just has like the rice picker hat, comes running around the corner.
Oh, man.
What do you
I don't
have
think
there?
you're allowed to say that. It's 2019, dude.
What?
You can't say rice picker hat. That is I can't come up with another name without it being like 20 times worse.
Yeah, I mean, you're right. Uh,
uh,
but speaking of fireworks, what do you think about like all the like ridiculously like strict laws we have around here on fireworks?
uh, they basically function to make people hop borders into other states to illegally purchase fireworks. I
Like,
mean,
yeah, like
it happens everywhere. I have friends up in up in Chicago, and people just like go out of state to buy fireworks and bring them back.
yeah, but like let's say like people weren't able to get away with it as easily. Do you think there should even be like laws on fireworks?
Um,
Well, I mean like super strict laws. Obviously there should be some laws.
no laws at all ever on anything.
Yes. Fireworks. We'll drop them off with the reefer. Just give people a gram of reefer and a whole bunch of fireworks. What
Yeah,
could go
that,
wrong?
that sounds like a good time to me, man. I don't know what you're talking about.
Make sure you smoke the right one.
Yeah, that'd be a problem.
Just kid walks into the room, firecracker in his mouth. Hey, Ma, you can't tell me what to do.
Is is this a joint or a Roman candle?
Oh, gosh. Hey, that would be pretty cool, though. Like, if he has it facing the right way, just like walking around launching Roman candles out his mouth.
That sounds like a terrible idea.
It's perfectly safe. Remember, there's no laws on fireworks. We don't need them.
But as far as like severe laws on fireworks go, I don't see a huge point to it. It just seems like regulating fun. But also, if people are launching fireworks like constantly on days that aren't holidays, I
Yeah,
think I think they should be executed because that's just obnoxious.
yeah. Well, no, like I'm not talking about like people doing it like annoyingly, like oh they're launching fireworks on a day when it's not a holiday. I'm just meaning like how like for Fourth of July people have to go like out of state to get like decent fireworks.
Yeah, that's ridiculous.
Yeah, because like I come from the like school of thought that like most people aren't idiots like us, you know? Most people are actually just like decent people who want to just time.
Eh,
I mean, granted, I know that like people are basically evil and stuff and do crap because whatever. But like I feel like most people who are buying like fireworks or anything, like they tend to like it's usually just like families trying to buy a few to celebrate Fourth of July.
right.
Like most of them aren't like pyromaniacs who are wanting to blow up half their neighborhood.
I mean, yeah.
Yeah, like, and I think that goes for like anything, like even guns, like well, maybe not like all guns, but like the guns that like you see in like Bass Pro Shop and stuff, like most of those people aren't like psychotic people trying to buy weapons. Like if people are gonna buy weapons for like doing like illegal stuff, they're usually gonna buy them illegally.
Yeah, I'm like the whole regulation of firearms is just kind of stupid to me in the modern era, considering that there's like literally YouTube videos on how to make your own AR-15 from literally nothing. It's like if people want to do bad things, they'll do bad things.
Yeah, that's kind of how I am. I'm like, look, just because some people are idiots doesn't mean that we all have to suffer.
Yeah.
Like, because you think about it, like we have like a decent justice system. So like,
We really don't. I disagree with that completely.
well, okay, maybe we don't have a decent justice system, but like, if people are going to do bad things, they're going to do bad things, and we have people in place. Yeah,
Like, because the people who do these, they're usually just freaks and weirdos who they really don't have anything. Like,
yeah,
culturally, they're nobodies.
yeah.
You,
They're like outcast.
yeah, bunch of
Yeah, like
freaks.
like you watch like old like 80s like slasher films. Like these people are people who are like rejected by society, and it ends up driving them mad, and then they go on a rampage and kill people. It's not like, oh, all of a sudden my neighbor decided he's a psycho.
Yeah.
Yeah. On the topic of gun laws though,
The
like
psycho next door. That sounds like something.
yeah, seriously. But like on the topic of like gun laws though, how do you think like if let's say like these were put into place, how long do you think it would be before like big gun companies like take like Beretta or something, if these gun laws are put into place, like how do you think it'll affect them like in the long run?
Oh, I mean, in the short term, gun companies absolutely love gun restrictions because it means that people just go out and buy all their crap.
Yeah,
So, in the short term, gun companies actually usually love to get anti-gun politicians in office. It's kind of
yeah,
weird.
yeah,
Look at the whole politics of the
yeah, but
situation, but
like and it would end up like it could end up being like their downfall, like
yeah.
if gun like regulations got put into place, do you think it would end like the manufacturing of guns? Like do you think like
Oh, well, of course not, because you're gonna have the rich people who are able to pay their way out of that sort of stuff,
well I mean like
and
I'm talking
then
about
you'll
like the
have
mainstream stuff. Like you're definitely going to get the people making them illegally, but like do you think like it,
like no doubt, gun companies will still be around and doing relatively okay because they're going to be doing military contracts. And
well,
like
yeah,
I
I
said,
guess.
even like over in the UK and stuff, they have I mean, they still sell guns and whatnot, even though their gun laws are extremely restrictive. It's just that the rich people are only allowed to buy guns, so it's just like really expensive guns.
Oh, I didn't
Yeah,
realize. I guess I didn't think about it, but like I never realized the UK had like really strict gun laws.
yeah, like insanely.
Is that kind of universal for like all of Europe?
Um, yes, except for Czech Republic has decent laws. Switzerland has a few weird laws. Um,
Switzerland has always been, an outlier.
yeah.
Switzerland has
Um,
always had weird laws. See,
Russia,
every
Russia has pretty, as far as Europe is concerned, Russia has pretty good gun laws.
yeah,
But besides
like
those countries, there's not. I mean, in France, you can own like a shotgun. I don't know if you're allowed to own a rifle or anything. Uh,
yeah. The thing with Switzerland is everyone is always joking like, Switzerland, they stay out of everything. They never cause any trouble, but like they're the ones we need to be worried about.
it's actually, interestingly enough, Switzerland is where a lot of modern Protestants get their religion from. Like, the I
Really?
believe the Anabaptists originally came out of Switzerland, or school of thought that came from Switzerland. Anyways, yeah.
I
So
thought they
like,
came, I
hmm?
thought they came from like Germany.
um, yeah. Well, the thing is, Switzerland's like pretty close to Germany. If you didn't know, Switzerland is basically just a cross between Germany and France. They're kind of weird.
Yeah. Well,
And
cause like a lot of my family's from like Pennsylvania, so we have like a lot of like Germans and like Pennsylvania Dutch.
yeah, it's something to look into. It's pretty interesting in my opinion. But
Yeah.
yeah, there was like armed revolt going on in the Swiss Alps where they were like shooting up Catholics for stuff. Pretty crazy stuff, man.
Yeah. That is like one thing that is like really interesting is like learning about like where like certain religions like originate because they usually don't originate where you would think.
Yeah, no. Buddhism? California. Who'd have thought?
Wait, really?
No.
I know. I know. I'm just playing it up. But like did like I know like you mentioned like a lot of like Anabaptists come from like Switzerland, which is unexpected. Did Catholicism like it actually did originate in Italy, right?
Um, yeah, I think so. I mean, I'm
Because
not too good on my I'm not too good on
Italy,
my really old history, but I mean, Jesus was crucified in the Mediterranean area, so I would assume that Catholicism also started sort of in the Mediterranean area.
uh, yeah, because like Italy is definitely like the Italians are one of like the oldest probably civilizations.
Nah, not really.
Well, not I mean like they go back like a long ways, like back to like biblical times and stuff. Whereas
Uh,
like
yeah,
whereas
but
like look at like the Swiss haven't really been like as huge necessarily that long.
I mean, Switzerland is still a small country. No, I know what you mean, but
Yeah.
I mean, like, yeah, Switzerland probably had, tribes for forever, but as far as like a unified group of people, I'm sure they
Yeah.
weren't as
Yeah, that,
unified as
I mean,
say the
is like
Roman Republic.
Italy's been a unified group of actual like citizens for a decent amount of time.
Yeah, relatively, I suppose.
Especially like in like the main capital of like Rome. Like Rome has been around for ages.
I mean, they ain't no Quebecly Teppy, but
Yeah, that is one thing that's interesting as well to think about. Like if any of like you people have like read or studied any of like biblical history, like a lot of times when you're studying like biblical history, you don't think about the fact that a lot of that is taking place like at the same time as like other stuff. Like a lot of like stuff going on in like the Bible takes place during like the Peloponnesian War and like a bunch of that stuff.
yeah, this is sort of relevant, but Göbekli Tepe is over in Turkey, right? And it
Uh,
was
so
one
yeah.
of the oldest oldest sites we found that has like structures. It's pretty impressive. Go ahead and you guys look it up on Google. It's but apparently it was founded in the 10th millennium BC.
Dang.
Yeah, that's ancient, dude. The Romans are like babies compared to that.
Yeah, seriously. Now, for all the people at home, how do you spell that?
It is Gobekli space Tepe. Göbekli Tepe.
Huh. No, you said 10 BC,
Uh, 10th millennium BC.
10th millennium BC. So is that like Aztec era?
10th millennium. That's like 10,000 BC, dude. That's like
Oh,
dawn of mankind stuff.
dang.
Yeah,
So,
that's like a bunch of cavemen got together and were like, "Hey guys, let's build a civilization, and to my
I wonder
knowledge,
if
I
that's
know
like
basically nothing about it.
so like Tower of Babel era.
Yeah, basically.
Interesting. The stuff you learn when you listen to podcasts.
Yeah, I'm like, it's weird because I am both super interested in ancient history, but also know next to nothing about it.
Yeah, same.
I'll just like
That's
look at a bunch of rocks. Oh, look at how old these are.
yeah,
Interesting.
yeah, yeah. That's kind of how I am with like dead languages and stuff. Like the idea of like studying dead languages and like figuring out like what they actually mean and like what they can tell us about history is like super fascinating to me, but I have like done little to no like actual like studying or learning of any dead languages.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think it'd be a decent study though. Do we know like if the people from Göbekli Tepe if they like had a like an actual like language?
I believe they had like a hieroglyphic type language. I don't think we've really deciphered any. There's like a lot of political stuff going on in Turkey right now.
Yeah. So we
So
haven't studied it.
yeah, no, unless like people are willing to get shot at to look at some rocks.
Yeah. I mean, like clearly, obviously, they had some sort of way of like communicating with each other, but like as far as like a written language, we don't fully
Uh,
know.
yeah, but it's pretty interesting because as far as history is concerned, this is back in hunter gatherer days. This isn't. I don't think we had farming even back then. So how did they even how did they manage to build this impressive structure?
Yeah, and it and if you think about it, like if this is hunter-gatherer era, then they probably didn't even like have like writing.
Yeah,
Like they probably like chiseled like they maybe had like drawings of like stuff going on, but I doubt like maybe they made like some like form of like primitive statues or like artwork depicting what was going on, but I they probably didn't even have like actual
like
just
a
like
comprehensive alphabet. I very much doubt. Yeah,
heavily doubt.
yeah.
Another
Unless the ancient aliens gave it to them.
Yeah, that's a completely different. Speaking of ancient aliens, I was watching an episode of that in a, hotel room a few months back when we were on vacation because I had like nothing to do with my life, so I was like, heck, why not? I'll watch Ancient Aliens, and they were discussing. They were doing an episode about Bigfoot and about like the whole theory like some people think he's an ape man, some people think he's just a giant ape, and then some people think like maybe it's just like a really large man or whatever, and they were saying that potentially Bigfoot could be a descendant of the biblical Goliath.
Yeah, I mean, man, we're just killing all our topics here. I really want to get into the Nephilim and stuff in later episodes, but I mean, I could see him being like a Nephilim or a descendant or something. That'd be pretty interesting to
Yeah,
touch on.
yeah, because they like got into like which clear like obviously like they may not know like their biblical history the best, but like they were getting into like the whole like Sons of Anak and like Goliath thing where like there were actually giants. So like it would make sense like for some of those people to have still like lived on for quite some time. Like it's not like, Goliath existed and then, he was like the last giant ever and they all just like went extinct. Like they would have lasted for a decent period of time, I would assume, right?
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty interesting if you look at it because if we're talking biblically, then the flood happened or whatever.
Yeah.
It talks about the sons of God and man, angels and man,
Yeah.
angels and women, whatever. And that creating basically abominations and monsters type of stuff, right?
Yeah, like
And
Leviathan stuff.
then God sends the flood, right? But
Yeah,
then later on in the Bible, it talks about, oh yeah, these guys still around. So how do they survive?
yeah, yeah. I don't know. It's weird.
And that's why I believe in the hollow earth.
Yeah. What are your thoughts on like in the Book of Job where it like mentions like Leviathan and like Behemoth and stuff? What do you think that actually is?
Oh,
Because
I mean,
some people think it's dinosaurs, some people say it's dragons, other people say it's like completely different.
I mean, me personally, and since you and I have a similar religious beliefs, you might call me like a heathen for this and quit the podcast right now. I'll have to. It'll be the podcast with Ghost and Ghost.
Yeah, seriously.
But
Nah.
me personally, I believe that the Bible was written for human understanding for the time it was written. If you know what I mean. Like
What,
now, culturally, we have we have words for like monsters and whatnot, right? But
yeah,
back then, Leviathan was their word for monster. Like
yeah,
now, we understand what dinosaurs are. We understand, what dragons are hypothetically.
yeah.
But
So
yeah,
you're basically saying like they're using the term Leviathan as a term for monster because they didn't have the word monster.
basically, yeah. Now, what it is, I guess it literally could be like pretty much anything.
Yeah.
I'd
Well,
like to think it's a dragon just because it'd be cooler, but
yeah, and it would make sense because like you see that type of stuff happening a lot in the Bible where they'll use like words to describe other things since they don't actually have like a term for it. Because if you study like in the book of Revelation, John supposedly is he's watching like, end times and the battle that is supposed to, supposedly happen in the end. And he says like, oh, like I see tons of soldiers with spears and swords, and they have chariots and massive chariots and stuff. Like if you think about it, like there's no logical reason why whenever like with all of the technological advances we have now and all of the technological advances we'll have in the future, there's no like logical reason why all of the sudden, if there's a giant battle at the end, there's no logical reason why we would just go back to using chariots and like spears and swords. And so
well,
a lot of people speculate that like whenever he uses the term chariot, he's probably describing like a tank or something, like
yeah,
he's
some sort of vehicle. Yeah.
some sort of vehicle, and the only thing that he has ever seen is a chariot, so he just assumes this is some weird form of metal, of gigantic metal chariot. Same thing with like spears and swords and stuff. Like he sees, guns and different things and has no idea what they are. Like when it talks about like having like a flaming swords and stuff, like it's probably not flaming swords. It's
Yeah.
probably guns firing ammo, and it looks like, you know, a flaming sword.
I mean, guns don't really look like swords, but yeah, that's probably just their best way of describing it is, oh, it is a weapon used by the military to kill people. Therefore, it is a sword.
Yeah. Because like outside of swords and spears and like bows and arrows, like they didn't really have any other form of weaponry. Like
I
the
mean, to be fair, slings are a lot more like guns than swords are.
yeah,
But
and crossbows
it's
are
probably
kind of,
like a flaming sling doesn't sound nearly as cool as a flaming sword.
yeah, or even like crossbows. But like
They
outside
didn't
of
have
like,
crossbows back then, Doug.
wait,
Crossbows are
what?
a pretty modern invention.
Okay, but also like you think about it, like yeah, the Asians were working on like fireworks and things like that, but outside of like that, like they really didn't have any sort of other weaponry outside of swords and spears and bows.
I mean, even then, they weren't working on black powder for a while.
Yeah, like they had different iterations, like different countries and different things had different iterations of swords. Like you had like short swords, broadsword, and things, but like they're all just different iterations of that. They didn't really have any other sort of weaponry. Whereas nowadays we have like guns and flamethrowers and bombs and missiles, and you know, you imagine it, somebody's probably made it into a weapon, you know.
Yeah.
Well, I think that about wraps it up for our first episode. We discussed some interesting topics. I'm gonna have to edit a bunch of it just because a lot of it was just random crap that probably doesn't need to end up in here, and it'll just fine tune it a little bit. But yeah, do you have a rec for the people for this first episode? A recommendation?
Yeah, let me pull it up real quick. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, because that's something we're gonna try and do at the end of every episode. We're gonna have a rec. We'll try and get these out once a week, if we can. And we'll have one rec per person each week. So like he'll recommend something this week, I'll recommend something next week. And it can be anything. It can be a movie, it can be music, it can be whatever. And it's just something that we think is interesting, that you may want to check out for yourself.
Yeah, it's pretty interesting. All this religious talk at the end sort of had me thinking. And I listened to this earlier today. Found it. It was it's under the subgenre of Catholic psychedelic folk rock, and it's pretty good. It's
Catholic
by Sister Irene O'Connor, and it's called
rock.
yeah, it's by Sister Irene O'Connor. It's called Fire, and then in parentheses, of God's Love.
By Sister Irene O'Connor.
Yep.
Fire, and then in parentheses, of God love.
Of God's Love. Yeah.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, there's your rec, people. Where can they find that? Is that is that on YouTube or like Spotify?
Oh yeah, just find it on YouTube.
Okay. Yeah, so go check it out. I'll look it up and I'll put a link to it in our description. You can click on and just enjoy yourself with some Catholic psychedelic folk rock. That's the thing with music nowadays. You never know what you're gonna find.
Well, that's the thing, is that this was actually written in the 1970s, which is just adds to the weirdness of it.
Yeah, I mean, psychedelic 70s. You gotta love it.
Yeah.
All right, guys. Well, we'll holler at you next week, hopefully. I know I'm flying out of town next week on Friday. I'm going up to see my sister, so I'm leaving on that Friday. So I don't know if I'll get a chance. We may end up having to skip next week, but if I find a free section of time, we'll definitely produce an episode for you. We're going to try and do this as consistently as possible, and hope you guys appreciate it. Peace.